The haunting of Deer Park CBS School. Deer Park CBS School in Cork, Ireland, had long stood as an institution of learning and community nestled in the heart of the city. However, in the autumn of 2017, the tranquil atmosphere of this venerable school was shattered by a series of chilling and inexplicable events that sent shockwaves through the community. It all began a month before Halloween when surveillance cameras that dotted the school's hallways captured events that defied rational explanation. Lockers shook violently, papers were sent flying through the air, and doors slammed shut with an eerie force, all without any visible human interference. The surveillance footage was first discovered by the school's deputy, who had been reviewing the recordings. His disbelief and confusion led him to send the footage to Principal Kevin Barry, with a sense of urgency and a growing sense of foreboding. Principal Barry watched the footage in stunned silence. The unsettling images played before his eyes, and it became evident that there was no rational explanation for the events captured on the camera. The deputy principal, baffled and in awe of what they had witnessed, spoke to the media about the eerie incident. He expressed his lack of understanding regarding the inexplicable events and acknowledged that if the incident were indeed a prank, it would have been an incredibly well-executed hoax. The notion that these occurrences were the result of human intervention seemed implausible given the nature of the events and the lack of any visible individuals involved. In the days that followed, the revelation of the haunting surveillance footage sent ripples through the school and the surrounding community. Rumors of supernatural activity had circulated long before the release of the video, with whispers of extreme cold spots and eerie cries echoing through the halls. The atmosphere in the school had been growing increasingly uneasy, and the footage only served to confirm the presence of something unexplainable. 1 month later, as the Halloween season approached, the school found itself embroiled in a new and even more chilling development. Another video, captured by the school's surveillance system, emerged to the shock and dismay of the community. In this subsequent video, the deserted school hallway became the stage for a terrifying spectacle. Loud, unidentifiable sounds echoed through the empty corridor, creating an eerie and unsettling atmosphere. A backpack resting on top of a row of lockers was sent hurtling through the air, as if tossed by an unseen force. A chair, positioned nearby, seemed to move of its own accord, sliding across the floor without any human hand to guide it. The footage, with its undeniable display of paranormal activity, intensified the mystery surrounding Deer Park CBS School. The deputy principal, faced with growing speculation and skepticism, denied any use of green screens or editing to manipulate the videos. He emphasized that the school lacked the necessary resources to create such convincing hoaxes. The haunting incidents at Deer Park CBS School served as a stark reminder of the unexplained forces that can intrude upon the most ordinary of places. The tranquil halls of the institution had become a canvas for a series of eerie and unsettling events, leaving the school's staff, students, and the entire community grappling with the unsettling presence that had taken hold. Despite the absence of a clear explanation, the haunting events that unfolded at Deer Park CBS School etched themselves into the collective memory of the community, leaving an enduring sense of unease and mystery that would linger long after the events themselves had faded into the past. The haunting of Julia F. Callahan Elementary School. Nestled on the outskirts of a quiet, picturesque town, Julia F. Callahan Elementary School stood as a beacon of education. Its red brick facade and towering oak trees created an idyllic scene. However, behind its seemingly serene exterior lay a sinister secret that had haunted the school for decades. The story began when the school hired a new teacher, Emily Thornton, fresh out of college and eager to make a difference in the lives of her young students. Her arrival marked the beginning of a series of eerie events that would shake the school to its core. One foggy October evening, as Emily was staying late to prepare her lesson plans, she heard a soft voice beckoning her from down the empty hallway. She assumed it was a late-night custodian and thought nothing of it at first. As she continued her work, the voice grew more distinct and seemed to call her name, Emily. Startled, she stepped out into the dimly lit corridor to investigate, her footsteps echoing through the deserted school. The voice, a ghostly whisper, seemed to come from nowhere and everywhere at once. She couldn't pinpoint its source. The hallway lights flickered ominously, casting eerie shadows on the walls. The temperature plummeted, and Emily's breath formed frosty clouds in the air. Then, as she reached a particular classroom door, it swung open by itself, revealing an empty room. Emily's heart raced as she hesitantly entered the room. Her footsteps echoed through the stillness, but the voice continued to call her name, the sound growing more urgent and unsettling. As she approached the teacher's desk, an icy breeze seemed to sweep through the room, extinguishing the lights and plunging her into darkness. Suddenly, a spectral figure materialized before her. It was the ghostly form of a young girl, her eyes hollow and filled with sorrow. The apparition whispered, "Help me, teacher. I can't find my way out." Emily's terror mounted as the spirit of the young girl, named Sarah, began to share her tragic tale. She had been a student at the school many years ago and had mysteriously vanished, never to be found. Sarah's spirit was trapped within the school, unable to move on, and she implored Emily to help her find peace. The young teacher, trembling with fear, didn't know how to respond. She reached for her phone to call for help, but it slipped through her hand and fell to the floor. The screen cracked. It was as if some supernatural force was preventing her from seeking assistance. Sarah's ghost, her voice a haunting whisper, said, "You must find my diary, hidden in the school's old library. It holds the key to my release. You are my only hope, Emily." With newfound determination, Emily ventured through the dimly lit school, her flashlight the only beacon in the oppressive darkness. She made her way to the library, a cavernous room filled with dusty shelves and forgotten books. The air was heavy with the scent of aged paper, and the silence was deafening. After hours of searching, Emily discovered an old, leather-bound diary hidden beneath a pile of books in the corner of the library. Its pages were filled with Sarah's handwritten entries, detailing her fears and suspicions about a malevolent presence that seemed to linger within the school. As Emily leafed through the diary, a chilling wind suddenly swept through the library, extinguishing her flashlight. The temperature dropped dramatically, and her breath formed visible puffs in the frigid air. Sarah's ghost appeared before her once more, her eyes filled with a mixture of gratitude and longing. With an otherworldly grace, Sarah's ghost whispered, "Thank you, Emily. You've found the diary. You've given me a chance for release." The lights flickered back on, and the library's atmosphere seemed to return to normal. Sarah's ghost had found the peace she sought for so long, and the school was free from its haunting presence. Word of Emily's harrowing experience quickly spread through Julia F. Callahan Elementary School. The legend of Sarah's restless spirit would be whispered from one generation of students to the next, a spine-tingling tale that would forever haunt the halls of the school. However, the story did not end there. Over the years, other teachers and students reported strange occurrences in the school, echoing the same eerie events Emily had experienced. It seemed that Sarah's spirit had found solace, but there were other restless souls still trapped within the school's walls. The school became a magnet for paranormal enthusiasts, ghost hunters, and those seeking to uncover the mysteries hidden within its haunted halls. Julia F. Callahan Elementary School became a place of intrigue and fear, where the whispers of the past beckoned to those willing to confront the supernatural forces that lurked within. Emily Thornton had unlocked the door to a world of the unknown, and the legacy of her harrowing encounter would continue to cast a shadow over the school for generations to come. Julia F. Callahan Elementary School would forever be known as a place where the living and the dead intertwined in a dance of chilling secrets and unsolved mystery. The Haunting of Yanagawa High School. It was a chilling autumn morning in 2014 when a wave of terror descended upon Yanagawa High School, a serene institution nestled in the scenic landscape of Japan. The school had always held an air of tranquility, but this calm facade was about to be shattered by an event that defied explanation. The day began like any other, with students shuffling into their classrooms, ready to embrace a new day of learning. But little did they know that an unexplainable horror was about to grip their school and sear itself into the collective memory of the town. The nightmare began in a second-floor classroom, where an unassuming girl, Yuki, sat at her desk, diligently working on her assignments. The morning sun streamed through the windows, casting long shadows across the room. It was a typical day, or so it seemed. Suddenly, without warning, Yuki let out a blood-curdling scream, her voice carrying a note of pure terror. Her classmates turned to her in shock, their faces twisted with concern. Yuki's body contorted in anguish as she writhed in her seat, screaming that she was paralyzed, unable to move, as if some unseen force had seized her. Panic rippled through the classroom, and her classmates tried to calm her, urging her to snap out of it. But then, something inexplicable happened. One by one, the other girls began to display the same terrifying behavior, their faces contorted in anguish, their eyes wild with fear. The screams multiplied, filling the room with a cacophony of terror. Word of the hysteria spread like wildfire, and soon students and teachers from neighboring classrooms rushed to the scene, desperate to understand the horror unfolding before their eyes. The once orderly classroom had descended into chaos, with students convulsing, paralyzed, and screaming in terror. The staff struggled to maintain control over the situation. The nightmare continued to escalate, with more girls falling victim to the unexplained phenomenon. The contagion of fear spread through the school like wildfire, a mass hysteria that defied all logic. The students and teachers were left in a state of utter confusion, unable to comprehend the terror that gripped the school. Rumors began to circulate that the girls had become possessed by a malevolent spirit, a vengeful entity from beyond the realm of the living. The chilling tales told of a headless ghost that haunted the nearby area of Mount Hiko and the Aburagi Dam. Some believed that this headless specter had somehow attached itself to one of the schoolgirls during a recent excursion to the region. It was said that the girl had unknowingly carried the vengeful spirit back to the school, where it had taken hold of the other pupils during class. The possessed girls began to exhibit increasingly disturbing behavior. They screamed phrases like "kill me and die," their voices laced with despair and torment. The once peaceful school was now a place of sheer horror and chaos. As the situation spiraled out of control, the school's administration made the fateful decision to close the doors, effectively quarantining the building from the outside world. The reasons for the mass hysteria remained a mystery, and rumors of a malevolent spirit had created a palpable fear within the town. Local authorities were alerted to the situation and dispatched a team of medical professionals to assess the student. They found the afflicted girls in a state of extreme distress, some of them completely unresponsive to their surroundings. The medical examinations, however, yielded no physiological explanations for their conditions. It seemed as if they had been plunged into a shared nightmare, one that had no basis in the physical world. In the days that followed, the school and the town were left grappling with the aftermath of the inexplicable event. Some believed that it had been a case of mass hysteria, a shared psychological episode brought on by fear and anxiety. Others clung to the belief that a malevolent spirit had infiltrated the school, and the trauma of the experience had left a lasting mark on the affected students. Regardless of the cause, the haunting incident at Yanagawa High School had left an indelible scar on the community's collective memory. The school's halls, once filled with the echoes of learning and laughter, would forever carry the lingering presence of that day when terror had swept through the corridors, a reminder that some horrors defy explanation and leave a mark that time cannot erase. The haunting of Tonk Upper Primary Government School. In the heart of the picturesque Tonk district in India, the Tonk Upper Primary Government School had long stood as a beacon of education, its classrooms filled with the laughter and chatter of young students eager to learn. However, in the year 2014, this peaceful place of learning would be forever marked by a sinister incident that shook the entire community. It was a typical day at the school when 3 children, filled with curiosity and a desire for knowledge, ventured to the restroom during school hours. The school's halls were bustling with activity, and the sunlight streamed through the windows, casting playful patterns on the walls. But little did these innocent children know that they were about to encounter a presence that would haunt them for the rest of their lives. As the 3 children entered the restroom, a sudden chill gripped the air, and an eerie silence descended upon the room. It was in this unsettling atmosphere that they saw her, a spectral figure of a young girl, her presence both ethereal and terrifying. The children's screams of shock and fear pierced the stillness of the restroom, drawing the attention of the entire school. The ghostly apparition of the young girl was unlike anything they had ever seen. She appeared to be urging the children forward, her spectral hands outstretched as if trying to push them toward the toilet. The children, paralyzed with terror, couldn't comprehend the horror that lay before them. The news of the ghostly encounter spread like wildfire through the school, sending shockwaves of fear and disbelief among the students, teachers, and parents. Soon, the entire community was in an uproar as they grappled with the sinister event that had unfolded within the school's walls. In the days that followed, over 170 children chose to refrain from attending school, their fear of encountering the malevolent spirit too great to overcome. The school, once a place of laughter and learning, had become tainted by the presence of a vengeful ghost, its halls a haunting reminder of the inexplicable. Desperate for answers, the community turned to religious leaders and practitioners, seeking a solution to the haunting that had gripped the school. Almost 300 people, including priests and villagers, gathered at the school to perform elaborate religious ceremonies. They hoped to cleanse the institution of the sinister specter that had caused such distress. During the religious rituals, it was claimed that one of the villagers participating in the ceremonies was possessed by the deity Tejaji, a divine presence with the power to communicate with the spirit world. Tejaji's voice echoed through the possessed villager, and the deity issued a chilling warning to the parents and teachers present. Tejaji revealed that the haunting had been the work of an evil spirit, the ghost of a young girl who had tragically met her end within the school's walls. The spirit had tormented the children in an attempt to communicate a message. She sought to convey her anguish and the reasons behind her unrest. Tejaji admonished the parents, instructing them to perform regular pujas at the temple located on the school grounds. The deity explained that the absence of these rituals had allowed malevolent forces to penetrate the school's protective barriers. The neglect of these sacred practices had opened the door to the supernatural, and the consequences had been dire. The community, shaken by these revelations, committed to following Tejaji's instructions. They vowed to honor the deity through regular puja ceremonies at the temple on the school grounds, seeking to maintain the spiritual protection needed to keep the evil at bay. As the religious ceremonies continued and the pujas were performed with unwavering devotion, the school gradually returned to a semblance of normalcy. The haunting presence of the malevolent spirit began to recede, and the children slowly regained their courage to return to their studies. The incident at Tonk Upper Primary Government School remained etched in the collective memory of the community, serving as a chilling reminder of the otherworldly forces that could intrude into the realm of the living. It underscored the importance of preserving the spiritual rituals and practices that acted as a shield against the supernatural, ensuring that the school remained a place of education and laughter rather than fear and terror. The haunting of Lee Williams High School. In the heart of a quiet, picturesque town, nestled among rolling hills, stood Lee Williams High School. It was a stately institution, known for its rich history and revered by the town's residents. But within its grand walls lay a dark and sinister secret, a secret that would unfold through the experiences of one young history teacher. Ms. Bennett was a new addition to the school's teaching staff. She was a young, ambitious educator who had recently graduated from college and was eager to make her mark. As she settled into her new role, she couldn't help but hear whispers among her colleagues about strange occurrences within the school. They spoke of unexplained footsteps in empty corridors, flickering lights, and doors slamming shut on their own. Ms. Bennett dismissed these stories as mere superstitions, believing that her rational mind would shield her from such irrational fears. One evening, she found herself alone in her classroom, surrounded by stacks of ungraded papers. The late afternoon sun cast long shadows across the room, and a quiet unease settled in. As she focused on the task at hand, she heard faint footsteps echoing down the empty corridor. Assuming it was a late-night custodian, she paid little attention and continued her work. However, the footsteps grew closer, growing louder and more distinct with each passing moment. The door to her classroom suddenly slammed shut with a deafening crash, causing her to jump in her seat. The lights in the room flickered ominously. Panic set in as Ms. Bennett realized that she was locked inside the room, and she was not alone. A shadowy figure materialized before her, a phantom-like apparition that she couldn't ignore. The ghostly figure bore the resemblance of a young man, and Ms. Bennett could feel an intense sorrow emanating from him. She recognized him as Jacob, a former student of the school who had tragically died in a car accident many years ago. "Help me, teacher," Jacob's ghost whispered, his voice chilling her to the core. "I'm trapped here, and I can't find peace." Ms. Bennett's heart raced as she tried to make sense of the horrifying situation. She reached for her phone, intending to call for help, but as her trembling hand grasped it, the device slipped through her fingers and fell to the floor, the screen shattering into pieces. Frantically, she searched for an escape, but the room seemed to close in around her. The air grew colder, and her breath formed visible puffs in the frigid atmosphere. Jacob's ghost continued to plead, his face etched with anguish. "Find my journal in the basement. It holds the key to my release. It's hidden in an old wooden box." With newfound determination, Ms. Bennett steeled herself for a journey into the school's dimly lit basement. The air was heavy with an eerie silence, and the only sound was the echo of her own footsteps. She descended the creaky staircase, her flashlight guiding her way through the labyrinthine passageways. Hours passed, and Ms. Bennett's search seemed to be in vain. The basement's darkness was oppressive, and her flashlight flickered as if threatened by some unseen force. It was during this moment of desperation that she heard the faintest of whispers, barely audible but filled with urgency. The voice was Jacob's, and this time his words were different. "You're close, teacher. Don't give up. My torment is ending." The basement's atmosphere seemed to shift, and the air grew thick with anticipation. Ms. Bennett's flashlight flickered back to life, guiding her to a hidden corner of the basement. There, concealed beneath a dusty tarp, lay an old wooden box covered in cobwebs. It was the box Jacob had mentioned. Tentatively, she opened the box and discovered a worn, leather-bound journal. Its pages were filled with cryptic writings, detailing Jacob's unfulfilled desires and tormenting experiences. As she leafed through its pages, the words seemed to come alive, resonating with a profound sense of anguish and longing. Just as she was about to read further, a chilling wind swept through the basement, extinguishing her flashlight once more. The temperature dropped dramatically, and the room grew eerily dark. Ms. Bennett could feel a presence that was both powerful and ethereal. The ghostly figure of Jacob appeared before her, his features softened and his expression filled with gratitude. "You've found it," he whispered, his voice echoing through the stillness. "My release is near." The lights in the basement flickered back on, and the oppressive atmosphere seemed to dissipate. Jacob's ghost was gone, leaving behind an overwhelming sense of relief and a profound silence. Ms. Bennett, still trembling from the encounter, realized that she had fulfilled her promise to the tormented spirit, and in return, Jacob had found peace at last. She clutched the journal tightly, its pages now still and silent, and made her way back to her classroom. Word of Ms. Bennett's harrowing experience spread throughout Lee Williams High School like wildfire. The legend of Jacob's restless spirit and his mysterious journal would be whispered from one generation of students to the next, a spine-tingling tale that would forever haunt the halls of Lee Williams High School. Over time, the school's haunting stories took on a life of their own, attracting the curious and the brave who sought to explore the mysteries hidden within its walls. Lee Williams High School became not only a place of learning but also a place of mystery and intrigue, a place where the echoes of the past whispered their secrets to those willing to listen. The haunting of Julia F. Callahan Elementary School. Nestled on the outskirts of a quiet, picturesque town, Julia F. Callahan Elementary School stood as a beacon of education. Its red brick facade and towering oak trees created an idyllic scene. However, behind its seemingly serene exterior lay a sinister secret that had haunted the school for decades. The story began when the school hired a new teacher, Emily Thornton, fresh out of college and eager to make a difference in the lives of her young students. Her arrival marked the beginning of a series of eerie events that would shake the school to its core. One foggy October evening, as Emily was staying late to prepare her lesson plans, she heard a soft voice beckoning her from down the empty hallway. She assumed it was a late-night custodian and thought nothing of it at first. As she continued her work, the voice grew more distinct and seemed to call her name, Emily. Startled, she stepped out into the dimly lit corridor to investigate, her footsteps echoing through the deserted school. The voice, a ghostly whisper, seemed to come from nowhere and everywhere at once. She couldn't pinpoint its source. The hallway lights flickered ominously, casting eerie shadows on the walls. The temperature plummeted, and Emily's breath formed frosty clouds in the air. Then, as she reached a particular classroom door, it swung open by itself, revealing an empty room. Emily's heart raced as she hesitantly entered the room. Her footsteps echoed through the stillness, but the voice continued to call her name, the sound growing more urgent and unsettling. As she approached the teacher's desk, an icy breeze seemed to sweep through the room, extinguishing the lights and plunging her into darkness. Suddenly, a spectral figure materialized before her. It was the ghostly form of a young girl, her eyes hollow and filled with sorrow. The apparition whispered, "Help me, teacher. I can't find my way out." Emily's terror mounted as the spirit of the young girl, named Sarah, began to share her tragic tale. She had been a student at the school many years ago and had mysteriously vanished, never to be found. Sarah's spirit was trapped within the school, unable to move on, and she implored Emily to help her find peace. The young teacher, trembling with fear, didn't know how to respond. She reached for her phone to call for help, but it slipped through her hand and fell to the floor. The screen cracked. It was as if some supernatural force was preventing her from seeking assistance. Sarah's ghost, her voice a haunting whisper, said, "You must find my diary, hidden in the school's old library. It holds the key to my release. You are my only hope, Emily." With newfound determination, Emily ventured through the dimly lit school, her flashlight the only beacon in the oppressive darkness. She made her way to the library, a cavernous room filled with dusty shelves and forgotten books. The air was heavy with the scent of aged paper, and the silence was deafening. After hours of searching, Emily discovered an old, leather-bound diary hidden beneath a pile of books in the corner of the library. Its pages were filled with Sarah's handwritten entries, detailing her fears and suspicions about a malevolent presence that seemed to linger within the school. As Emily leafed through the diary, a chilling wind suddenly swept through the library, extinguishing her flashlight. The temperature dropped dramatically, and her breath formed visible puffs in the frigid air. Sarah's ghost appeared before her once more, her eyes filled with a mixture of gratitude and longing. With an otherworldly grace, Sarah's ghost whispered, "Thank you, Emily. You've found the diary. You've given me a chance for release." The lights flickered back on, and the library's atmosphere seemed to return to normal. Sarah's ghost had found the peace she sought for so long, and the school was free from its haunting presence. Word of Emily's harrowing experience quickly spread through Julia F. Callahan Elementary School. The legend of Sarah's restless spirit would be whispered from one generation of students to the next, a spine-tingling tale that would forever haunt the halls of the school. However, the story did not end there. Over the years, other teachers and students reported strange occurrences in the school, echoing the same eerie events Emily had experienced. It seemed that Sarah's spirit had found solace, but there were other restless souls still trapped within the school's walls. The school became a magnet for paranormal enthusiasts, ghost hunters, and those seeking to uncover the mysteries hidden within its haunted halls. Julia F. Callahan Elementary School became a place of intrigue and fear, where the whispers of the past beckoned to those willing to confront the supernatural forces that lurked within. Emily Thornton had unlocked the door to a world of the unknown, and the legacy of her harrowing encounter would continue to cast a shadow over the school for generations to come. Julia F. Callahan Elementary School would forever be known as a place where the living and the dead intertwined in a dance of chilling secrets and unsolved mysteries. The Whispering Shadows of Sophie B. Wright Middle School. Sophie B. Wright Middle School, located in the heart of New Orleans, was an imposing and historic building with a dark past. For decades, rumors had circulated about strange occurrences within its shadowy corridors, but none were as unsettling as the tale of a young student named Lily. It was the middle of winter, and the school was quiet, save for a few janitors cleaning the classrooms. The gloomy, overcast sky cast an eerie pall over the building. Lily, a bright and inquisitive seventh grader, was known for her insatiable curiosity. She had heard stories about the school's haunting history but had never paid them much mind. That was until she discovered an old and worn-out yearbook from the 1950s in the back of the school library. As she flipped through the pages, she came across a faded photograph of a girl who bore an uncanny resemblance to her. The girl's name was Emily, and she had been a student at the school many decades ago. Intrigued by the resemblance, Lily decided to investigate further. She asked her older brother, Mark, who had graduated from Sophie B. Wright Middle School a few years ago, about the mysterious Emily. Mark looked at the yearbook photo, his expression darkening. Emily's story is a tragic one, he said. They say she disappeared without a trace, and the school was never the same again. Lily couldn't resist the allure of the mystery. She began researching old newspapers, searching for any information about Emily's disappearance. What she found was a series of unsettling articles from 1956 that detailed Emily's vanishing. She was last seen heading to the school's basement, but she never came back. Her disappearance had sent shockwaves through the community. Lily's curiosity knew no bounds. She decided to delve deeper into the mystery by exploring the basement herself, especially since it was said to be a place that the students avoided at all costs. Armed with a flashlight, she ventured down a narrow, creaking staircase, the air growing increasingly damp and chilling. As she descended further into the bowels of the school, Lily's flashlight flickered, casting eerie shadows on the walls. She felt a sense of foreboding, as if the very air around her was thick with the weight of the past. The basement was a labyrinth of dusty, forgotten storage rooms and dimly lit hallways. Lily continued to search, driven by a force she couldn't quite explain. It was then that she heard it, a faint, ghostly whisper, like the sighing of the wind through the trees on a cold winter's night. She couldn't make out the words, but the sound sent shivers down her spine. The whisper seemed to surround her, as though the very walls of the basement were alive with a spectral presence. Lily pressed on, determined to uncover the truth. She stumbled upon an old storage room, its door creaking open with an agonizing groan. Inside, her flashlight illuminated a rusted, antique mirror covered in dust. She approached it, her reflection distorted by the years of neglect. As she stared into the glass, the whispers grew louder, more insistent, and finally, they formed words. "Help me," the voice pleaded, echoing through the cold, still air. "I'm trapped here, just like Emily." Lily recoiled, her heart pounding in her chest. The voice was unmistakably Emily's, and the realization sent shockwaves of fear through her. She reached out to touch the mirror, and her hand passed through it as if it were made of smoke. In that moment, Lily knew that she was not alone in the basement, and she was facing something beyond the realm of the living. With trepidation, she began to communicate with Emily, whose spirit was trapped within the mirror. Emily's story unfolded, revealing that she had been conducting an experiment in the basement when she had vanished. She had created a portal to another dimension, and her own reflection had dragged her into it, imprisoning her in a nightmarish world of eternal darkness and torment. Lily, despite her fear, was determined to help Emily find peace. The basement had become a place of supernatural phenomena, and she had to confront the malevolent forces that bound Emily's spirit. With each passing day, the whispers grew stronger, the shadows darker, and the spectral presence more pronounced. Lily enlisted the help of her brother, Mark, who was initially skeptical but couldn't deny the supernatural occurrences they witnessed. Together, they sought to unravel the mysteries of the mirror and the portal to the other dimension. They researched ancient texts, seeking guidance on how to free Emily from her spectral prison. As the days turned into weeks, their efforts intensified. They performed rituals, chanted incantations, and conducted seances, all while facing the ever-increasing malevolence that seemed to emanate from the mirror. The school's atmosphere grew oppressive, and the once quiet hallways echoed with the voices of the restless spirits that lurked within. Finally, after a long and grueling journey, they discovered the key to closing the portal. Lily and Mark worked together to seal the mirror, using a powerful incantation. The basement trembled, the whispers turned into a deafening cacophony, and the mirror shattered into 1,000 pieces. The air in the basement grew still, and the malevolent forces that had plagued Sophie B. Wright Middle School for decades were banished. The school returned to a semblance of normalcy, but the legends of Emily's spirit in the haunted basement persisted, serving as a chilling reminder of the school's dark past. Lily and Mark knew that their efforts had saved the school from an eternity of torment, and they shared an unspoken bond that transcended the boundaries of the living and the dead. The whispers of the past no longer haunted the halls of Sophie B. Wright Middle School, but the memories of the harrowing events would linger, passed down through generations, as a testament to the courage of those who dared to confront the supernatural forces that lurked within. The haunting of Mgotjane Primary School. In the heart of the picturesque town of Mgotjane, nestled among the rolling hills of Swaziland, stood the Mgotjane Primary School. While it appeared to be an ordinary and unassuming educational institution, it concealed a terrifying secret, a tale of malevolent spirits that had plagued the school in 2013. The unsettling events began when a female teacher, Ms. Nambuso, arrived at the school one gloomy morning. She had heard whispers and rumors about the school's haunted reputation but dismissed them as mere superstition. However, that day would change her perspective forever. As Ms. Nambuso prepared her classroom for the day's lessons, an overwhelming sense of dread washed over her. The air seemed to grow heavy and oppressive, and an eerie silence enveloped the room. Then she heard it, a chilling whisper in a language she couldn't understand. The voice seemed to beckon her, growing louder and more insistent. Inexplicably, the classroom lights flickered and the temperature plummeted. Ms. Nambuso's heart raced as she struggled to understand the source of the haunting voice. It felt as though an unseen force was closing in around her, an oppressive presence that she couldn't escape. The whisper continued, and it was only when Ms. Nambuso realized that the voice was calling her name that her fear reached its peak. It was as if the very walls of the school were alive with supernatural energy, and they had a message for her. She fled the room, the voice following her down the empty corridors, echoing through the once familiar hallways. She reached the main office, trembling and on the verge of tears. Her colleagues, though skeptical, could see the genuine terror in her eyes. A male teacher, Mr. Thelani Dlamini, overheard her account and recalled an incident of his own. He had experienced a sense of foreboding and unease during his time at the school, often hearing strange noises and whispers in the night. However, it was an incident that had occurred in his living quarters that had shaken him to the core. Mr. Dlamini reported hearing one of his colleagues shouting in the night, claiming that 4 short men were trying to strangle him. The distressed teacher had recounted a harrowing experience, explaining that the apparitions had entered his room and attempted to press his face into his bed, making it nearly impossible to breathe. Despite his skepticism, Mr. Dlamini couldn't ignore the genuine fear in his colleague's voice. The man's face bore the marks of his struggle, with bruises and scratches that defied explanation. He had been utterly convinced that malevolent entities were responsible for the attack. The eerie incidents didn't stop with the teachers. Even the students at Mgotjane Primary School had their own chilling experiences. 3 young girls had ventured into the school's bathroom, where they expected to complete their daily routine. While 2 of them used the toilet, the 3rd girl stood by the bathroom door, waiting her turn. As the 2 girls inside the bathroom stall went about their business, they were suddenly confronted by a disembodied voice that seemed to emanate from the depths of the toilet. The voice was shrill and angry, demanding to know why the girls were relieving themselves on it. The girl standing outside the stall also heard the voice and, overcome with terror, asked her friends who was in the toilet with them. The voice, however, grew louder and more menacing with each passing second, as if it were manifesting an otherworldly anger. The girls inside the stall could endure the terrifying ordeal no longer and fled back to their classroom, their faces pale with fear. When the girls shared their nightmarish experience with their parents and other teachers, many were skeptical, dismissing the story as the product of an overactive imagination. Some even suggested that the girls should stop making up stories. They believed that such supernatural claims had no place in the real world. However, the strange occurrences didn't end there. It soon became apparent that other students, particularly those in the junior classes, had encountered the same phenomena. Terrified voices echoed through the school's bathrooms, tormenting those who dared to enter. The haunted reputation of Mgotjane Primary School had spread like wildfire throughout the community. Parents and teachers were left to grapple with the unsettling experiences that their children and colleagues had endured. The school had become a place where the living and the supernatural coexisted, where inexplicable horrors unfolded within its seemingly ordinary walls. To this day, the haunting of Mgotjane Primary School remains a chilling mystery, a testament to the unexplained forces that can haunt even the most ordinary of places. While some chose to dismiss the tales as mere superstition, the echoes of that fateful year in 2013 continued to reverberate, a lingering reminder of the horrors that lurked within the school's hallowed halls. The haunting of Cleveland High School. Cleveland High School, a quaint institution nestled in the heart of Cleveland, Texas, had long been a center of community life. It was a place where generations of students gathered to learn and create memories, a place that should have held only the echoes of laughter and footsteps. However, a seemingly ordinary day in the school's history would give rise to a chilling mystery that defied explanation. Marcella Davis, a local woman, had visited the school with her nephew on a sunny afternoon in 2018. She had brought along her trusty cell phone to capture the moment as her nephew explored the hallowed halls of the high school. Little did she know that the innocent act of taking a picture would lead to an encounter with the unexplainable. As her nephew excitedly posed for the photo, Marcella snapped the picture, the flash briefly illuminating the hallway. The high school's hallways appeared just as they always had, devoid of any unusual sights or sounds. It was a typical visit, or so it seemed. Days later, as Marcella sat down to review the pictures from their trip, her eyes widened in shock. In the background of the photo, two figures appeared, figures that had most certainly not been there when the picture was taken. The couple in the photograph seemed to be frozen in time, like apparitions from a different era. Their clothing, reminiscent of the 1970s, was strangely out of place in the present day. The man sported bell-bottom pants and a dark-colored shirt under a light-colored jacket, his style unmistakably from a bygone era. The woman stood slightly behind him, her figure less distinct, her clothes less visible. Marcella couldn't believe her eyes. She had taken the picture herself, and she was certain that there had been no one else in the hallway when the photo was snapped. She hadn't seen the couple, nor had her nephew, who was more focused on exploring the school. It was a jarring revelation that sent shivers down her spine. Perplexed and unsettled, Marcella showed the photo to her daughter, who immediately noticed the eerie figures in the background. She pointed out the chilling details, and the realization of what they were looking at slowly sunk in. When asked if she had used any apps or filters to manipulate the photo, Marcella vehemently denied any such action. She claimed that she didn't even know how those apps worked and that she had not altered the picture in any way. The eerie figures were a disturbing and inexplicable addition to the photograph, one that defied logical explanation. As the news of Marcella's ghostly photograph spread throughout the town, it ignited a sense of curiosity and unease among the local residents. Many were drawn to the photograph, their intrigue mingling with a sense of disquiet. Some dismissed it as a trick of the light or a product of a camera malfunction, but others couldn't shake the feeling that the figures in the photograph were more than just a simple glitch. The high school itself became a point of interest for those intrigued by the supernatural. The echoes of the past, if indeed the figures were the spirits of long-departed individuals, seemed to linger within the school's walls. The halls that had once been a place of learning and camaraderie were now shrouded in an unsettling aura. As Marcella continued to share her story and the photograph with others, she hoped for answers that would put her unease to rest. The enigmatic figures in the photo remained a chilling reminder of the inexplicable, a testament to the mysteries that could defy rational understanding. Whether the figures in the photograph were the lingering spirits of former students or a mere trick of the camera, the haunting image of the couple from the 1970s would forever be etched into the history of Cleveland High School. It served as a reminder that even in the most ordinary of places, the boundaries between the past and the present could blur, and the echoes of bygone eras could come back to haunt the living. Lambertville High School. Darkness hung over Lambertville High School like a shroud, its history steeped in whispers of spectral horrors that refused to rest. Nestled in the heart of New Jersey, this institution had once been a breeding ground for education, but it had morphed into something far more sinister, a haunted haven where the boundaries between the living and the dead blurred into a nightmare. The decaying remnants of Lambertville High stood as a macabre testament to a past that clung like a malevolent ghost. The specter of the school had long been regarded as the most haunted on the East Coast, its ominous reputation casting shadows that stretched beyond the confines of its dilapidated walls. Though the building had succumbed to the inevitable hands of progress in 2012, the tales of terror that emanated from its ruins persisted, haunting the memories of those who dared to tread too close. Amidst the overgrown weeds and crumbling bricks of the sports field, where the echoes of cheers once rang, a ghastly apparition materialized. Witnesses spoke of fiery eyes, malevolent orbs that burn with an otherworldly rage. These eyes, like flickering flames, floated eerily above the ground, casting an ethereal glow that sent shivers down the spine of anyone unfortunate enough to witness the spectral display. The sports field, once a place of youthful exuberance, had become a haunting ground for the supernatural. The whispers of the dead were not confined to mere sightings. They manifested as a disembodied voice that sliced through the silence of the night. Those who ventured to the field under the moon's pallid gaze reported an otherworldly voice, a haunting crescendo that reverberated through the air. The voice, laden with a malevolent warning, would ominously instruct the trespassers to run, a command that resonated with a chilling urgency, as if the very essence of the afterlife demanded compliance. Harold Dunn, the former library director, became an unwilling witness to the horrors that plagued Lambertville High. He recounted tales of the red burning eyes, insisting that they materialized like vengeful spirits if one dared to tread the field after nightfall. His trembling words painted a picture of a supernatural entity watching, judging, and waiting. The disembodied voice, an ethereal executioner, seemed to take perverse pleasure in guiding its victims towards an uncertain fate. The ghostly remnants of the school bore witness to a tragedy that transcended the mortal realm. A former football player, his visage forever etched in the annals of spectral lore, haunted the very grounds where he met his untimely demise. The tale spoke of a fatal match that ended in a catastrophic neck injury, and with it, the abrupt extinguishing of a young life. The ghostly figure, clad in the tattered remnants of a football uniform, wandered the desolate field, a poignant reminder of the horrors that unfolded under the stadium lights. The school's dark history traced its roots back to 1854, a time when education was a beacon of enlightenment. Yet, the original building met a fiery demise in the early 1920s, reducing it to ashes and embers. Whispers circulated of a tragedy that claimed the lives of 150 students and teachers, their anguished cries echoing through the inferno that consumed their hopes and dreams. A tribute stone, weathered and worn, stood as a grim memorial to this catastrophic event, a solemn reminder of the souls that remained trapped within the spectral tapestry of Lambertville High. As the final vestiges of sunlight retreated beyond the horizon, the ruins of Lambertville High School became a stage for the macabre. Mysterious messages etched themselves onto chalkboards in the long-abandoned classrooms, cryptic symbols and ghostly figures materializing as if drawn by an unseen hand. These haunting inscriptions spoke of an unresolved darkness, a malevolence that lingered within the very fabric of the forsaken school. Lambertville High, though reduced to rubble, retained its grasp on the imaginations of those who dared to delve into the supernatural. The ghostly echoes of its haunted past resonated, a chilling reminder that some horrors could not be extinguished by the passage of time or the demolition of brick and mortar. As the night enveloped the remnants of the school, the spectral legacy of Lambertville High persisted, casting a perpetual shadow over the curious and the brave who sought to unravel the mysteries that lay within its ghostly embrace.